Welcome to the bold analysis. Governor Anyang' Nyong'o yesterday in a very short notice informed the country that President Ruto will be touring Kisumu today. And that was of course attending a summit that is currently underway in the lakeside. I have seen videos and photos that has been splashed just to try to explain on William Ruto's reception in Kisumu. And I can tell you that it was very intentional for the president to try to draw such a huge crowd in Kisumu just because his former deputy, Rigathi Gachagua, has also been showing his political muscle in Mount Kenya. And it is very clear that the two they have a center. There's something they're voting for. William Ruto's reception in Kisumu and speech are two different scenes, are two different receptions of the same man. The convoy reception and the speech is actually confirming to you that without the tribal card is the only script left on table. Because for me, I paid attention to, I followed when he was being received. And Kisumu is normally Kisumu is never hostile, by the way. Let me tell you, Kisumu is never hostile. Ni ile tu, mambo ikiharibika na inakuanga imeharibika. But Kisumu is normally very peaceful. I do myself, I spend most of my time in Kisumu. It's normally a very peaceful place. Lakini kukiharibika kunakuanga kumeharibika. That's the only difference between Kisumu and other areas, especially when Raila is involved. So, I paid attention to what he told the people that came around that convoy. There's something they wanted to hear. So this podcast, I want us to listen to what he told the people and see the card that is only available on table. Kindly subscribe to our channel. And we are building a house for these two brothers living with disability in Watamu. This is Edison and Harrison. We are running an urgent fundraiser to support build them a house. Hawa walikuwa wanasaidiwa na msamaria mwema. Na huyo msamaria mwema amewatoa kwa sababu anasema anataka kujenga hapo kwake. So by God's will, they have also gotten someone else, a local church there, imewapatia shamba kidogo hapo. So that is where one of the local pastors reached out to us. And we took it that in our disability care, in this podcast, we are going to have two programs, Granny and Disability Care. We are going to build a house for these two brothers. They're also in need of a wheelchair. So nitaenda kesho, and they want to give that construction a priority kwanza to jenge, that is kesho and Thursday. Then on Friday, I can rush to Mombasa and buy them, or even Kilifi town or somewhere around that place. People from that area, you can refer me where you can buy a wheelchair, so that we can give them na waingie kwa hiyo nyumba. So kindly let's support this. Let's support this. Hawa wanaishi hivyo. The two brothers, wote ni crippled or living disability, lakini they really need this support. And thank you very much for those who have taken the plea, those who have taken this, heeded this call to support these two.
Mimi Edison na tuko mahali ambapo tunafukuzwa. Mwenyewe anataka ile nyumba ajenge tena, anatufukuza. Sasa tukapatiwa mahali hapa tujenge, lakini sasa mpango wa pesa ni pesa ndio nimekoma hapa mahali tumefika. So nataka msaada, mtusaidie ili tuendelee kujenga mahali hapa, tuwe tukiishi mahali hapa. Ni hivyo. Changamoto ya kutembea pia ndio hii changamoto ya kutembea.
Now, Let's get to Kisumu. This is the video of the crowd that was milling around the president's convoy. And you can see this crowd was mobilized. For people who know Kisumu, Grand Swiss Hotel, this crowd was mobilized from the people around stage, Kisumu stage, not Kisumu town, Kisumu stage kuna konga na watu wengi. That group came through with that convoy to Kibuye Market. You know, Kibuye Market is a very big market in Kisumu, with a very large population, so I want to believe business was disrupted there. Then the convoy dropped directly to Kondele Roundabout. Kondele Roundabout is a famous place known for, of course, it has, but there's something about it, ina connect watu wametoka town, the Kakamega Road and the Manyata. If you know, that is the Kondele Roundabout. So it's, Kondele Roundabout is like ile Githurai. So I'm very sure that even President Ruto wanted crowd. So he could not go anywhere else. In Kisumu, that is the only place. If you want to be seen as having crowd, even if you remember when Babu was going to Kisumu, he went to that place. That is the place that if you want an already available crowd, utapata crowd hapo. There are lots of activities. Kuna wamama wanauza huko, kuna boda boda. It's a normally very busy place, even normal working day. So he went to Kondele. You can see people carrying placards there. And of course, he got a good reception. No doubt. He got a good reception. My interest is what the president said, because I know crowds is normal. It's not there is nothing new about it. Crowds, hata Kalonzo aende pale sahi atapata watu. Itajaa. So, he spoke about a development. Nitaleta sijingi shilingi 800, I don't know where, 800 for where. And then, he mentioned those things. And I want you to watch this video because by the time he was mentioning those things, watu walikuwa wanamwangalia tu.
Naweka milioni 300 kujenga landing site hapa Asat na kule Ogal. Tuhakikisha kwamba hawa vijana wako na wanaweza kuendesha uvuvi kwa taratibu na njia ya sawasawa. Tumekubaliana vile vile Januari mwaka ujao tunawapatia milioni 800 ya mambo ya fish ports na mambo ya training na kusaidia wavuvi katika Lake Victoria hapa, kuanzia kule Busia mpaka kule Migori. Tunaelewana? Na Kabonyo, mimi niliwaambia tumeweka bilioni 1 hapa Kabonyo ili tutoe fish fingerlings, tuweke restocking ya Lake Victoria na tuweke restocking katika ponds zenu, ndio tuwache kuagiza samaki kutoka China. Samaki ipatikane hapa Kisumu, imevuliwa na vijana wa hapa Kenya. Tumekubaliana jameni?
Yes. Now wait. You heard of President talking about Kabonyo Kanyagwal. Now that Kabonyo Kanyagwal is the project that Morara once exposed. Let's just revisit. This is the project that William Ruto is talking about throwing in some billions, I don't know, million there next year. This is the project.
This is Nyando constituency and this is Kabonyo Kanyagwal ward. And we just want to check on the project that the President William Ruto launched here for Kabonyo Kanyagwal Fisheries and Aquaculture Project. So come with me, let's check it out. So as you can see here, this is our main gate. This is the main gate. We have our contractors here. The contractors are building. Those are our aquaculture researchers over there preparing to do some research on fingerlings from Lake Victoria. That is our Nile Perch. That's our Nile Perch lab. That's where we do research on Nile Perch and tilapia. So here we have the administration block, and here we have the finance office. This project was costing 2.5 billion Kenya shillings. Kazi safi hii sana. Asante sana mtukufu rais. So this looks like a graveside. Inakaa kaburi. There's one very sad thing about this project. This 2.5 billion Kenya shillings for this project was coming from the government of Hungary, from the Exim Bank of Hungary. Now, the worst part about it is that it's not aid. Si ati tulisaidiwa, is a loan which we will repay. Now, on top of the conditions of that loan is that the company that is supposed to do this project is supposed to be a company from Hungary. That was the negotiation between the government of Kenya and the government of Hungary and the Bank of Hungary, that the contractor mwenye afa kujenga hii must be from Hungary. So the question I want to ask is this: the people who negotiate our loans from our government, how do you allow us to have a loan which we will pay, then you specify that a company from Hungary must be the one to build? Is it that Kenyan contractors are lacking that can build this? Shida tupu. Shida na tabu.
Look at it. So it is very clear that the crowd came, but he didn't have a word for them. He didn't have a word for them because wakati wanasema wanasalimia, they are very jovial, wanamreceive iko sawa, but when he started talking, they were off. Walikuwa wanamwangalia tu, they were off because he didn't have a word. He didn't have, for me, sikuwa na kitu. He didn't have something to give. And so he resorted to switched first to Raila Odinga's AUC, and after that AUC, but then aliongea dakika kidogo sana. Ruto is fond of making long speeches. Aliongea dakika kidogo sana, he switched off to Raila Odinga's AUC so that he could rejuvenate the crowd, and from Raila Odinga he gave the microphone to the Kisumu governor and the other leaders that accompanied with him. Now look at how there was his attempt really to drag Raila Odinga's name throughout his speech.
Sikizeni, mimi nikiongea na nyinyi saa hizi, si tulisema tunamuombea Agwambo awe chairman na kiongozi wa bara letu la Afrika? Tunakubaliana? Wangapi wanampatia maombi apate hiyo kiti ya East Africa, hiyo kiti ya bara letu la Afrika? Mimi nikiongea na nyinyi saa hizi, juzi Agwambo alikuwa Benin, ametoka huko ameenda Ivory Coast, jana alikuwa kule Senegal, leo ako kule Nigeria, kwa sababu unajua anatafuta kura ya Afrika. Ama namna gani? Sisi kama Wakenya tunamuombea ndio aongoze bara letu la Afrika, na mimi nimemshikilia hivi hiyo kiti kwa mapenzi ya Mungu. Agwambo atakalia ndio aongoze bara letu la Afrika kwa mapenzi ya Mungu. Tumekubaliana jameni? Na sisi hapa tuungane.
Now this is what is telling you that the two things that is exciting there. He had to mention Raila Odinga to get the attention of the crowd. Of course, that is Raila Odinga's crowd, of course. And number two, even when he was talking about the broad-based, even when he's talking about that broad-based, people are not really like, okay, so broad-based. It didn't get, there have always been an attempt to sell that broad-based. It didn't get the good interaction. It what wanna wail through when he's talking about it. Now look at this photo. This is the photo of Kondele roundabout. You can see wako chini, and if you look at that, naona polisi wako juu. So under that bridge, under that roundabout, mali watu wamesimama chini hiyo, that is the roundabout. So when he's moving around that place, watu wamejaa hapo. Kwa hiyo, and I can tell you, what's happening is this, ukienda kwa hiyo roundabout, magari zimetoka town, hazikuji, so zimesimama na huko, watu probably wameshuka. Magari zimetoka Kakamega, that is the place that Kakamega Road, that is the Kakamega Road. Imetoka Kakamega, imetoka hapo. Magari zimetoka Otongolo, because that roundabout, on the other end, it also heads to Otongolo, and kuna ingine pia ina connect from Nyalenda. So people who understand Kisumu know very well, hapa around Nyalenda, hapa chini, before fike Kachok, hiyo flyover inatokea hapo. Panda hiyo flyover utaenda hadi Kondele. So you can see, and you can see hata huko juu, there was bit of security, wako huko juu, wamekuwa chini. So that was the strategy of mobilizing those numbers. The turnout is a clear indicator that William Ruto is trying to endear himself to the Nyanza. Now, Ruto knows something. If this country goes to the ballot thinking about the economic status of the country, he's doomed. He has to force the elections to be tribal, and that is the only way he will survive. Let me tell you, unaona this statement ya wale kutoka mulima wakuje, wale kutoka sijui wapi wakuje, wale Mombasa wakuje. Yesterday he was meeting a team from Mombasa. Wale Western wakuje. That statement, if you ask me, it is tribal. By the way, that statement it means we want to bring people according to their tribes. Wale wa Central wale wakuje. He's simply not saying Wakikuyu, but predominantly when you say Central, you mean Kikuyu. When you say Coast, you mean is technically saying that we want to mobilize these people on their tribes, and that is the message. And in fact, I can tell you that is the script. Because alternatively, what should be the message? The message should be that in our, like what he used to say, he would stick to, since you've given us 5 years, the people of Kenya must see what we have done, and so that you can vote for us irrespective of whether I come from tribe A or tribe B or tribe C. I may be wrong. That statement by the president is very tribal. Is a tribal mobilization scheme, and you can outrightly see if you choose to be keen. And if you heard him in his speech, he only focused on Raila, justifying why he worked with Raila and the promise of helping Raila win the AUC. Of course, he knew that would excite the crowd. We all know, and there is a very clear point here that we want to mobilize around tribes. So, and I want to tell Ruto the brutal truth from Kisumu. Brutal truth of the Nyanza. You need to listen to these TV stations in the Luo and these radio stations, and you need to follow what other people are saying from that place. I come from that place. So, if there is a politics I should be able to understand, that will be better than even you mulima yenye. You guys think I understand better. Now, when the vote is not centered around Raila Odinga, if the Luo is not voting for Raila Odinga, he will not be able to fully evade the term accountability. You know, mobilizing around the fact that Central is rebelling against Uhuru, so against Ruto, so you need to go to Nyanza so that Nyanza want to, because Nyanza felt like maybe Raila have never gotten it. So that kind of elementary thinking, that kind of elementary, okay, I don't know what, I don't know if I'm getting the right word. That kind of it is simply a strategy to evade accountability, because you don't want the country to think about the scorecard of the administration. The president doesn't want to hear about the scorecard because the card is not even there. So, if Raila is not on ballot, there is a chunk of the Nyanza population that will ask you, what have you done? Why are our children not in school? Why is it that we are not having the houses that you promised? Why is it that, especially the middle class, why is it that tunakatwa pesa mingi? Those questions will come. Second truth. Working with Raila is not going to be a running call, a viable running call in 2027. I want to explain to you why. Raila Odinga is ODM. And even if Raila fails to go to AU, that will be the worst. If Raila fails to go to AU, the brutal truth here is that Raila must maintain his relevance, and President Ruto must know that the least he will do is Raila Odinga to be in that somewhere prime minister, not vice prime minister, somewhere there. But most importantly, Raila is not an agenda to take to the ballot in 2027. even if Raila gets AUC, that is not an agenda to go to take to the people. It's too weak. You cannot go and convince the country that they need to vote for you because Raila Odinga is AUC. They will tell you, oh, Raila pia has his own quality. So si kuhusu wewe, kuna uliongea na African presidents wote. The third truth, converting the Nyanza crowd to votes is a nightmare. They've never seen the value of voting. Their turnout has never gone beyond 60%. Even when Uhuru Kenyatta was president, and with all that connection and surety of the vote, the turnout, no single county in Nyanza got more than 65%. Go and do your research. We must ensure that human rights violation is not in the ballot. So one thing that you do even as you lobby Nyanza, or in the tribal coordinate, you must ensure that that deep-seated wound of abductions and killing is not smeared on your hands. If there is another protest and people continue dying, hey, Kisumu might not be very slippery, as though we may want to believe. Thank you.